Is the Trump administration right to be confrontational with Iran? Hi, my name's Nick Knightsbridge. I'm going to answer that for you. I would say they are not right. And why is that? Because it's been tried before. So only with the Obama administration, some say that he was kind of trying to build a bridge with Iran and try and basically work together on some regional issues and international issues. Because let's face it, they are a superpower, so to speak, in Middle Eastern terms. Only Israel in the Middle East has nuclear weapons, but obviously Israel is a tiny country and they don't really have the manpower. So Iran arguably is the kind of the hegemon of the neighborhood. So you can't really do much in the Middle East without somehow accounting for them, appeasing them, working with them, and Mr. Obama understood that. This administration, however, seems to have gone back to George W. Bush administration's era, of course taking us into the war with Iraq and Afghanistan, and seem to do the bidding of the neocons that are really trying to get us into war, probably because they're close friends with a lot of arms dealers and defense companies like Boeing and Lockheed Martin. Now, kind of putting the paranoia and maybe like ulterior motives aside, it definitely doesn't work, confrontation with Iran. Why? Since 1979, when the American embassy in Tehran was taken hostage, we've had a really bad relationship with Iran. So there's been very little discourse, dialogue. The embassy's been closed, of course. You guys might remember the movie Argo from a few years back that kind of portrays pretty accurately, actually, how the American diplomats were rescued from Iran. But nevertheless, it hasn't worked. Iran has become super good at basically managing its own affairs, independence. They've had U.S. sanctions since the early 80s. They had world sanctions, international sanctions, and only relief came in 2015 because of the nuclear issue, which also Trump is trying to reignite because he says that it was a bad deal for the U.S., where everyone else says it was a great deal for everyone. Well, not a great deal, but it was a deal that everyone could live with. We have inspectors in Iran. They're free to go around and see basically any sites of concern to make sure that they're not refining beyond a certain capacity. I believe 90% plutonium and uranium capacity in terms of refinement purity. So basically, if we are confrontational with Iran and go to an extreme and rip up that agreement even that we had, what does that serve? Basically, Iran then is free to go back into its cave. We can't have discourse. We can't encourage them. We can't build bridges with the people. And that's pretty much doing the bidding of the Ayatollahs in Iran. So they're probably more than happy to be cut off from the West, because then they can demonize the West and tell the people that, hey, West, the Americans and the Westerners don't care about you. We're the only ones that are going to watch out for you and protect you. So that makes it more difficult because less discourse, less communication, and demonization of the West internally in Iran is probably is a Christmas treat for the Iranian government. And on the other side of the coin, of course, Mr. Trump is singing to his base. I mean, they're the only people that think that we should do anything about Iran. Amazingly, though, when he talks about being in Afghanistan and Iraq too long and pulling the troops out, he essentially is putting us on a kind of a flight plan to war. And it doesn't make any sense. So I don't know whether they want to pull everything out. No American lives being wasted in war abroad. But at the same time, I guess they have to do what their defense contractors, lobbyists want them to do. Another aspect to that is, of course, Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu this week is in Munich demonizing Iran again. And I'm sure, of course, Iran has done a lot of bad things, and they do. But they're not illogical. They're looking out for their interests in the region, as everyone would. Iran Iran came out of a war from 1980 through 88. It was a war where the whole world essentially was backing the other side, and that was Saddam Hussein. Now, Iran learned its lesson, not to depend on the rest of the world, and so it's looking out for its own interests. When George W. Bush invaded Iraq and Afghanistan, he didn't realize that he's removing two of the biggest enemies of Iran, and so basically containment's really hard. Now, Iraq and Afghanistan are pretty much Iranian allies, the most, some people say, satellite states of Iran, essentially. And Israel, of course, fears Iran's influence in the region to the degree that it's becoming more and more friendly with the Arab states, namely Saudi Arabia, which also has a big fear of Iran because it thinks Iran wants to export its revolutionary ideology to their part of the world. Because obviously Iran doesn't agree with royal families ruling the Gulf, especially in the land of the Holy Mosque in Mecca. So yeah, it's a very complicated answer, but no, he's not right, because it doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't help anyone, and it's only going to make Iran more dangerous and make them more able to hide all their activities, including nuclear activity, without any Western oversight. All right, that's that. If you have any other questions, please post them for me below, and I'll answer them spontaneously. Thank you.